Hello everyone, it's Darkseeker here again. Welcome back for another video. Today we are playing GetMeowth's Libram Paladin on the Wildbird ladder. So, Libram Paladin does see some play on standard mode, but on wild mode it's pretty much non-existent. So I'm quite excited to play this deck, and thanks to GetMeowth for the list. Given that it's wild mode, we do have access to some additional cards that we wouldn't see on standard. So Lanessa's Sun's Sorrow, Battle Cry. Cast each spell you cast on your minions this game on this one. So you can get some really good value with Librams of Wisdom, Librams of Hope being cast again. That's pretty decent. Going nicely with Lady Liadrin, of course, whose Battle Cry is to add a copy of each spell you cast on friendly characters this game to your hand. So those two 7-drops are pretty crucial to the late game functioning of the deck. So, because it's wild mode, we have access to Loatheb to mess with those Reno Priests and Quest Mages. We have Spikeridge Steed, which can just win you the game sometimes against aggro, because essentially it's a double-layered taunt. You give a minion +2/+6 stats, and the taunt effect. When it dies, summon a Stegodon, which has taunt. So double-layered taunt kind of reminds me of Sludge Belcher in some ways, but this is much, much better. Very good stats. And finally, Shielded Minibot is the other card of interest for me in this deck. Still one of the best 2-drops in the game, because it's a 2-cost minion with 2 attack, 2 health, and Divine Shield. So very, very good value. Good at contesting an aggressive opponent at the start of the game. You can hopefully get multiple trades with their minions. So let's have a look at this deck in action on the wild mode ladder. And our first game is against a priest.
Give me strength.
I will fight with honor.
Alright, we have a 1-drop, Aldor Attendant. That makes us incredibly happy. Another card I'd like to sing the praises of is a First Day of School, 0-cost spell, which I do play in the standard version of the deck. And you add 2 random 1-cost minions to your hand. Really good at getting early board presence. Again, very good against aggressive opponents. Just gives you tempo.
I cannot wait to read these.
Alright, so a discount there on the Librams. Is it Libram or is it Libram? In one of my earlier videos, I may have called it Libram, but I think it's Libram. I don't know. Hand of Adal, love this card. Look at what we've got on the board now. It's turn 2, we have a 3/5. This is pretty significant. Good for getting early trades with, low attack, low health minions that your opponent may play. Although this is a priest, and so I suspect he's going to be stalling for a while. I suspect there'll be some AoE coming. Renew, really good at finding that AoE, perhaps. Or a silence effect. Silence against this deck is unfortunate if they have it. If you play Libram of Wisdom on a minion, of course the death rattle becomes add a Libram of Wisdom to your hand. If they then silence your minion, you're quite sad, but it's not the end of the world, because do remember, Lady Liadrin and Lanessa's Sun's Sorrow are going to give you access to that Libram of Wisdom again later in the game. And of course you have a second copy in the deck as well, so it's still not too bad. And the stalling continues here for the priest. This surely is not Reno Priest, because Reno Priest would have done something by now. Would have played something. Which means one thing, and one thing only. This is probably Big Priest. So against Big Priest, we have Libram of Justice. This deck, unlike the standard version that I play, does not play Consecration, but you have the Penflinger. So you can Libram of Justice and Penflinger to clear minions. If you have other spells, you could return the Pain Flinger back to hand and just keep playing it again and again.
I wonder.
5 mana. Master Spell, okay. Interesting. Very interesting. We are board locked. There is nothing we can play here.
Read this. Repent.
The battle! The battle! The battle! For justice!
To battle and for justice. Now, I'm okay with that Master Spell because we did not have a Libram of Wisdom cast on a minion. All we've really lost is the Hand of Adal buff. Mass Hysteria, interesting. We need to hurry this up a bit.
The light dims, but we fight. Hey, loser!
We need to kill this loser
This.
quickly, because I'm just conscious, if this is Big Priest, I'm conscious of a well-timed Shadow Essence play into a Yasharaj potentially blowing us out of the game. Even with Libram of Justice, they can then resurrect their minions and we're in trouble then. Yeah, this definitely does look like Big Priest. Light Bomb.
Become the hero this world needs.
That's a beautiful entrance from Allura.
Greatness calls.
A really nice little sort of musical score to go with it.
It wasn't me. Repent.
For justice!
Again, the damage to the face, just putting him under as much pressure as I can.
Reporting for duty.
Normally you wouldn't be playing the Pen Flinger unless you could return it back to hand with a spell.
Well played.
But here, I think it's just fine because it just does 1 extra damage. He is nearly dead. And I feel like I need to put him under that pressure. Next turn, we have Libram of Hope, so we can get a 8/8 Divine Shield Taunt minion on the board. That could be game-winning in itself if he manages to deal with this board. Another massive spell. His hand must be ridiculously slow. Wave of Apathy. Maybe this is not Big Priest. Maybe this is not Big Priest.
Above and beyond. Repent.
Anyway,
The battle!
he's just dead.
The battle! The battle!
Precise lethal.
For justice!
Very satisfying.
You win.
Alright, next game is against a Warlock. I'm happy with this hand. I'm fine with it. Righteous Protector. Interesting inclusion in this deck. Not a card that you see played competitively at all in any other deck. So, really nice to see it find a home here. I guess it just goes very well with a Libram of Wisdom buff or a Hand of Adal buff. The fact that it's got Divine Shield already, I think, is a nice bonus.
The light dims, but we fight.
And in this case, it's going to prevent 3 damage to my face. And it's still going to live. So I'm pretty happy with that. On its own, it will potentially take out the Flame Imp. If we then trade
No, don't. It's still.
on the next turn, that's a Flesh Giant. Here I was thinking a discard lock. Clearly not. So, What do I want to do here? There are choices. Mini-bot, I think, will do a good job of contesting something small that he plays next turn. We can also buff the mini-bot with the Libram Wisdom as well. Make it a 3-3, why not? But we've also got Muster for Battle next turn as well.
A little agony goes a long way.
And that's the nerfed version of Dark Glare. Looks like our opponent didn't get the memo about the wild nerfs that happened recently.
Weapons ready.
I think this is fine. Yeah, this is absolutely fine. Now, we are conscious of Flesh Giant. Maybe we need to draw Libram of Justice just to feel safe about this. Darkglare Warlock had pretty much disappeared from the meta after the nerfs. Oh look! Libram of Justice! Ask and you shall receive! Alright. Kind of immune to Defile. Do they play Defile in their decks? I have no idea.
I wonder.
I'm trying to remember what cards Darkglare Warlock played. In terms of AoE, board clears, ways of controlling the board.
I greet you.
Ooh!
Well
He
met.
greets us.
For
Now, when they greet you, it's usually a bad thing.
the battle. I'm going to throw the book.
It usually means you're dead when they greet you. It usually means they have some kind of lethal or some significant play either on that turn or the following turn.
A little agony.
Oh, here we go. Darkglare, that was the reason for the greeting. He's going to flood the board here with stuff. Potentially a giant? Yeah, giant. A broom? Okay. Is that it? There's nothing else? Nothing at all? Planning your next turn? Rage quitting?
So many possibilities.
Thinking of the possibilities? So we have
That was a mistake.
we have Libram of Justice to deal with that if we want, but do we need it? Do we need to utilize it here? Oh wait, do we have lethal? 4, 5, 6, 7. No, we're one off lethal. Yeah, we're one off lethal. So we're just gonna buff stuff here.
Reporting for justice.
Both of these 7-drops sitting in hand here, they're kind of dead cards until you want to pull the trigger on them. So they can just be sitting in your hand for quite some time, not doing anything at all. That's frustrating. Although the fact that you can get Lanessa through Christology, sometimes in the late game, just drawing it through Christology can just be game winning. Where it was, you get it when you need it, and it bails you out of a bad situation. So is this our Libram of Justice play then? Hand of a doll.
To battle!
This dungeon.
Alright, here we go. Time for some value. So we're just creating this 6/6 here.
For justice!
We'll make it an 8/8 potentially. And I'm just saying to him, right, we have a massive minion on board. You need to deal with this. Even if you put a taunt down, I do have the Libram of Justice ready, so I can get through a taunt. Lady Liadrin as well could be pretty big next turn if we want to go down that route.
I wonder.
And we're just then going to get loads of Libram Wisdoms back to hand if he somehow clears the board. Alright, there's a Flesh Giant. Second Flesh Giant. Are you going to taunt this up? Oh, you may taunt it up. No, you only give them Divine Shield.
Well played.
What a shame.
The light is mine.
Well, Enhanzo Meccano. What a card. Alright.
Let me change your.
Joining this game in progress against a priest. A very nasty priest. That stole my Lady Liadrin. How rude. How very, very rude. Now look at the deck list on the left hand side. What kind of a priest does that look like to you? He's playing single copies of cards. So he's a Highlander deck. But,
This dungeon reeks
it doesn't look like a typical
delightful.
wild Highlander / Reno Priest. This is pretty sweet. Lots of pressure here from this. But yeah, looking at the deck list, he plays Soul Mirror, he plays Shadow Word Ruin. Cabal Shadow Priest is a naturally occurring card. It just looks weird to me. Disciple of Galacrond he plays too. So he's a Galacrond Highlander Priest or / Reno Priest. So I'm just going to assume that there's no Spawn of Shadows in his deck, that he's not going to try and kill me with Raza either. That's sort of my assumption.
Life and hope are worth fighting.
Dragon Queen Alex Raza. I don't know, I look at that deck and it makes me think more of standard Priest, standard Highlander Priest. This is interesting.
My hand is too
That's
full.
fine. So, what do we do with all of these Librams? 8 of them in hand.
Wasn't me! Wasn't me!
So we are losing a Penflinger. There's no way round that, unfortunately.
Wasn't me!
And working through the animations on this is pretty painful. doesn't look like it's taking very long. But when you add up the number of Librams we have, and the number of times we have to click through this, it is still pretty time consuming. You know, and I'm doing this at a reasonable pace still. And we're still going to end up hitting the rope, I think. Yeah, there's the rope.
For justice.
Alright. Another play where I commit the Penflinger, leaving it on board because I wanted to do that one extra damage to the face. Am I going to come to regret that? Would it have been better to have kept the Penflinger back in hand? You know, the Stegodon dies, and then we have lots of value again with the Penflinger the following turn.
Let me change your mind.
Let me change your mind.
Looks like I'm here just in
With some healing. Just in time. So on a positive note, Dragon Queen Alexstrasza dies here. A horrible death to our Stegodon. He has to trade the 7/6. That dies too, this is good. Unfortunately, we are not left with a minion on the board, so that's sad. So we can't buff an existing minion and then go face the following turn. And now you start to look at this board, and you think, okay, this priest has a chance now.
The light dims, but
He is back in the game.
for justice.
But, once again, we have these 0-cost Librams,
Reporting for duty.
plus the Spike Ridge. And should I be spreading some of the buffs here between the minions? No, I've decided against that. I'm going to go all in on one minion. Because I want this minion to be as healthy as possible, so none of the trades on the board can kill it. It's 11 damage on the board, 15 health there on the minion. So I want this minion as healthy as possible. But let's see if he's got spells in hand that can help deal with it. Silence, obviously, here would be crushing for us. It would be game over if there was a silence effect. So we've just got to hope there's no silence. In this game, Zephyrus has already been played. But look at him now. Penflinger value for our opponents. And Libram value too. Wow. Priest doing priest things. Stealing our cards, playing them against us. But it does look like he is going to get through our taunt. And we'll be back to the drawing board. The question is, can one of our minions still survive? Can one of the Silverhand recruits stay alive so we can then buff it on the following turn? I get the feeling he doesn't want to sacrifice his dragon, his 4/6. The stats are pretty good. I think he wants to see if he can keep it alive. No, gotta sacrifice it. And it looks like he can't clear that Stegodon. That is really good for us.
For justice. Reporting for duty.
There we go again. Okay. It isn't quite lethal.
Battle. The battle. Reporting for duty. Well played.
Well played.
I must
Do you have a taunt? Or a way to deal with this 10-14? If he does deal with the 10-14, even with the silence effect, for example, there's double Libram of Hope still left in the deck. Oh, that's pretty big. That's pretty big and potentially quite annoying. Interesting. Okay.
By the holy light.
That's huge.
Reporting
RNG time, ladies and gentlemen.
for justice.
For justice. Yep. There we go. Wow. What a bizarre game. And what a strange Reno Priest to be facing on Wild Mode. Anyway, GetMeowth's Libram Paladin. Ladies and gentlemen, this deck is ridiculously fun to play. It's not seen anywhere on the Wild Mode ladder at the moment. I don't face anyone playing a deck like this on Wild. So I'm a massive fan of the deck. I love the inclusion of Lower Theb. I think it's brilliant. I'm loving the inclusion of Christology, so you can get to your Lynessa if you need to in the late game, or in the early game, Christology drawing you the likes of Aldor Attendant or Righteous Protector can be a big deal. Shielded Minibot, still, as I say, one of the best 2-drops in the game. Mustafa Battle, seeing a return in this deck. It's been a long time since I've played that. My last memories of Mustafa Battle were in Secrets Paladin, years ago. So, loving the inclusion of Mustafa Battle. Given the propensity of this deck to generate Silverhand recruits through Mustafa Battle, or through your hero power, and with there being, cheap, low-cost tokens that you can play, Righteous Protector, Aldor Attendant, and the minions generated from First Day of School, I wonder if Sunkeeper Tarim would be a worthy inclusion in this deck. Just something to consider. Probably not needed. But anyway, thank you very much for joining me, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you all again very soon, as always, for more Wild Mode fun.